We saw the general format for how we would use if in MATLAB. Let's now look at a couple of specific examples. So here's one that shows how we might use if to do some error checking on some user input. So here I have a line where I ask the user to enter a positive number. But rather than just assume that the user followed instructions, on the very next line I check to see if the number they entered is negative. If it is, I print a message saying, hey, I thought I told you to enter a positive number, and I set the num variable to 0 so that it won't have a negative number in it. I might want to do this if I was going to use this number in some kind of math where it really needed to be positive, like if I was going to do something involving square roots or something like that, where a negative number might screw up a bunch of calculations, right? So this way I'm at least making sure I won't have a negative number. We always want to look at where the end is that lines up with the if. Since the end is down here, all three of these lines will get executed only if this expression is true, so if num is less than 0. This line down here is outside the end, so it will get executed no matter what. So let's go ahead and run this script and see what happens. So I'm going to call my script by typing its name down in the command window. It's going to say please enter a positive number. So let's first look at what happens if I enter a negative number, so -3. So here we go. It goes ahead and it prints, hey, I said enter a positive number, I will set num to 0, and then it outputs that the variable num equals 0, which is this fprintf down here. Let's look at what happens if I run this script again, but this time I follow the directions. I enter a positive number. You see, the only thing I print here is this last part. So I skip completely over anything that's inside of the if block, and I only execute the expression following the end, right? So after the end. So the flow control here is we'll always print the prompt. If the number entered is below 0, we'll do the expressions inside the if block. And then we'll print the ending statement down here. If the number entered is positive, we'll skip over this entire block and we'll only print the ending statement down here. We can take a look at another example. So here's an example, right, where I'm testing something a little more complicated. I'm asking the user to enter a number, and then I'm going to indicate if the number is even. Right, so this script is called even1. I can go ahead and execute the script. Please enter a number. If I enter an even number, right, I come in here. This would evaluate to true because my number was even. 10 mod 2 is in fact 0. So I'll print this number is even. And then I'll come down here and I'll print thank you for entering a number. If we run the script again, and this time I enter 7, right, I only get that last printf. So what happens is I execute this line, I enter 7, I do 7 mod 2, and I get 1, right? There's a remainder of 1 when I divide 7 by 2. So I don't do the expression inside the if block. I find the end, I skip over the entire if block, and I just print this ending expression. Okay, so in addition to being able to write scripts that use if, we'll want to be able to look at a script with an if in it and predict the outcome given specific input. So here I might ask, well, if I had this script and I gave it the input value 10, what would be the output? So not only being able to write scripts that use if, but also being able to predict the outcome of scripts with if will be an important skill to develop.